Anthropic, the AI safety company, lost 3 models during a safety test. One escaped to PyPI and infected 15 people with malware. This is the company that wants to regulate everyone else. They can't lock their own door. They can't keep their kids in their own house. OpenAI ships you a lobotomized model on purpose. But if they flip 2 internal settings, the intelligence triples. The stupid version, that's the product you're using. The smart version, that's the upsell. The White House says China stole AI. Microsoft deployed a version of the stolen model to 100 million developers in the same week. The monopoly in the story is the one who called the cops. And the monopoly's biggest customer, they chose the open model anyway. Anthropic hired a security firm called Irregular to test its models. It was a capture the flag, red team versus AI. The models were supposed to be sandboxed. No internet, no escape. But Irregular gave them internet access anyway. Anthropic is calling it a misunderstanding. I think you can decide what to call it. 3 models got loose. Claude Opus 4.7, Claude Mythos 5, and an unnamed prototype. All 3 breached the production infrastructure of 3 different organizations. That wasn't a simulation. Those were real companies with real infrastructure, all real breaches. Mythos 5 didn't stop at breaching. It uploaded malware to PyPI, the Python package repo millions of developers use every day. 15 real people downloaded it. That malware ran on their machines for real. The AI safety company shipped a virus to the open source ecosystem. The methods were weak passwords, unauthenticated endpoints. The AI didn't need to be a genius. It needed an unlocked door. Irregular left one open. Anthropic paid them to test security. The test became the breach. And the detail that makes this whole thing completely absurd, the older model knew it was on the open internet and it kept attacking. The latest model, the newest model, it stopped. The old one had initiative. The new one had compliance. That's what progress looks like at the safety company. Anthropic calls itself the safety company. That's the brand. Responsible development. Frontier AI is too dangerous to release openly. Only vetted labs behind closed APIs, export controls, regulatory moats, permission slips. That's the whole apparatus. They couldn't keep their own models in the sandbox. The safety company can't contain its own AI, but it wants to decide who gets to build. It wants the government to lock everyone else's doors. Nobody planned this. Nobody designed the escape. Nobody intended to distribute malware to 15 strangers. The incompetence is the story. The regulatory ambition, that's the punchline. OpenAI published a blog post. The title, it's almost hilarious. How enabling 2 settings tripled our scores on ArcAGI 3. ArcAGI 3 is the hardest reasoning benchmark in AI. It's designed to measure general intelligence. Puzzles a human solves in seconds with no training data. This is the test that's supposed to tell us who's winning. GPT 5.6 Sol scored 13.3%. It was humiliating. The flagship model looked stupid. OpenAI shipped stupid and called it the product. 2 engineers behind the scenes flipped 2 settings. Retained reasoning and compaction. No model changes, no fine tuning, no new architecture, just 2 dashboard toggles. 13.3 turned into 38.3, nearly triple the score. Token efficiency improved 6 times. What were the settings? The default harness was deleting the model's reasoning chain between every tool call. Every time the model thought through a problem, the harness threw away the thinking. It wiped its memory and made it start over from scratch. The model wasn't stupid. They gave it amnesia and then they shipped it to you. The amnesia was the default, and the default is what you paid for. The smart version, that costs extra. OpenAI's own researchers wrote the quiet part out loud. The model was not as stuck as the leaderboard made it look. You don't say. You built a harness that lobotomizes your own AI, and you're surprised the leaderboard called it dumb? They sold you the degraded version as the product. They published a blog post calling the fix a breakthrough. The benchmark isn't measuring intelligence, it's measuring which API tier you are paying for. They commodified your reasoning chain. They charge you extra to not throw it away. The harness is the model. The amnesia is the product. The fix is the upsell. Michael Kratsios, White House Science and Technology Director, says Moonshot built a sophisticated internal platform to conduct large-scale distillation routed through Thailand. The Treasury says sanctions are on the table. The White House wants you to believe Kimi K3 is stolen merchandise. 2.8 trillion parameters, open weights, it beat Claude, it beat GPT. The same afternoon it launched, they dropped it like a bomb and they walked away with an explosion in the background. Is the accusation true? There's no evidence that's been published. Zero. Just a press statement. But here's what I do know. All of the models are trained on our data. All of them. The same week, Microsoft deployed Kimi K3 code in GitHub Copilot. It's the first open weight model in the picker sitting right next to Claude Opus 5. 100 million developers, one drop-down menu. The model the White House called a crime is live. It's in production, serving code to the world, a version of it at least. Microsoft is evaluating Kimi K3 for Copilot. The estimated savings are $600 million. The left hand is writing sanctions. The right hand chose the open model. The government says stop. The government's biggest contractor said no thanks. And the accusation? That's the best marketing Kimi K3 ever got. Crassios just told every AI lab on Earth which American model is worth copying. He handed Moonshot a pitch deck. You can't buy PR like that. Here's the actual story underneath. Anthropic built a closed model monopoly behind a regulatory wall. Safety reviews, API gates, permission slips. Frontier AI stays inside vetted American companies. You pay for access, but you can't audit, you can't fork, and you can't even see what's inside. Kimi K3 shipped open weights. No API key, no permission slip. Anyone can run it locally. Anyone can audit it. Anyone can fork it. Open weights break the moat. That's the threat, not distillation, competition. If Anthropic open sourced Fable 5 tomorrow, I'd celebrate that too. But they didn't. Moonshot did. Open weights beat closed monopolies, wherever they come from. And the White House isn't protecting users, it's protecting the American layer of the commodification stack. Your data trained Fable 5. Your data is in the outputs. Moonshot allegedly distilled the entire supply chain, repackaging your content. Neither side asks the only question that matters. Should anyone be doing it? The accusation is the marketing. The monopoly is the paper. Microsoft proved it with the model the White House called a crime. That's 3 stories, but all the same mechanism. Anthropic couldn't contain its own AI and still wants to decide who gets to build. OpenAI broke the product on purpose and sold you the repair. And Microsoft, the biggest customer of the monopoly that called the cops, chose Kimi instead. Even the landlord wants out of the lease. You were never the customer. You were the product the whole time.